Hi, I'm Dark Shades and I'm talking about sacrifice today. When you think about sacrifice, I tend to think about it in biblical terms. God sacrificed his son for us so we would all live and, be without sin. And we don't normally think about sacrifice in today's terms, but we do sacrifice quite a lot. When you think about what you would do for somebody else, say, for example, your wife said, look, I need you to come out with me shopping and you want to watch the football. Now, for the sake of peace, you might get really angry and skin up and things, but you're more than likely to go because you know that upsetting your wife has long-term implications that you don't really want to deal with. So you might reason with her or you might negotiate with her, but in the end, you may need to sacrifice watching a match in order to please your wife. It's like some people, they go for hours and hours. They sacrifice a lot of pain in order to get a tattoo, a sleeve. I mean, I've watched them, the pain that they go through, but they're willing to sacrifice that for the outcome that they want on their arms and all over their bodies. It's interesting because there's different levels of sacrifice. I read about a 32-year-old man who dived into the sea to save a 5-year-old that he didn't know, who was drifting off to sea on a dinghy. Jumped after her, he managed to pull her in, pass her to someone else. She was saved and he died. He got swept under. How tragic is that? When he dived in, he didn't realise that he was putting that little girl before himself. And a lot of the thing about sacrifice is that you are putting somebody before yourself. What in fact you're saying is that person is more important than me. Therefore, I'm going to sacrifice what I like, what I love, what I value because of that individual. People do that. And I kind of think that we need to turn it back on ourselves. What can we sacrifice to make our lives better, to improve who we are? I remember when I had some tummy problems and I decided that I would have to relax my digestive system. And I decided to sacrifice all cakes, breads, rice, in fact, all carbohydrates, all meats. And I just had smoothies and stuff like that. Sacrifice things I like because I wanted my body to get back healthy again. And that is what sacrifice is when you're turning it back on yourself. It's what you would do for yourself to make your life better, to make you happier. Some people sacrifice smoking and drinking because they know it's going to build them up. Some people wait until they're on the death list before they decide to change their habits. But what is important is that we are all equally important, and that when you're sacrificing yourself for other people, you need to know that you're going to make that same sacrifice for yourself. I'm not quite sure if there's anything else about sacrifice that I wanted to discuss. Let me see. I guess it all depends what you deem important. I read about this guy in South Carolina, I think it was. Either South Carolina or South California, one of the two. But he sacrificed his life for a mobile phone. The mobile home was blazing, and he's running in there to get his phone. And now, to be honest, my phone ain't worth that much. I know it's got all my numbers on it. I know it's got all my appointments. But I am not going into a blazing building for a phone. But that phone was important to him. And he felt that he needed to sacrifice his life to get it. So I'm going to leave you with these few words just to say it's okay to sacrifice your life for someone else. But God did that for us. And you don't really need to do that for someone else. what you do need to do is sacrifice certain things to make your life happier, to make the people you're with happier, to make the world a more comfortable place. You know, people sacrifice money and they send it off, and they send it off to all these good causes. That's okay, that's fine. But make sure you're okay. Make sure you're looking after number one. And that's all I've got to say about sacrifice. Ciao for now.